Welcome to BBC Top Gear India everyone. My name is Mandar and this right here is the all-new MG M9 electric luxury MPV. The brand's flagship car until the Cyberster arrives, of course. This car right here, it claims to put the rear seat comfort first over everything else. As a result, it's made for the elite and the politicians alike. So let's see what the fuss is all about. But before we begin, make sure that you are subscribed to the Top Gear India YouTube channel. We begin with the styling of the M9. Up front, as you can see, it gets a split headlight setup. The DRL, those are on the top, and down here is the trapezoidal headlights, LED headlights. Here you can see the massive trapezoidal grille, which is garnished with this chrome surrounding. Looks ace in my opinion. On the side, this car gets 19-inch alloy wheels and it's longer as well as taller than both the Kia Carnival as well as the Toyota Vellfire. It's also got the longest wheelbase in its segment. On the sides also you'll notice it's got just the right amount of chrome on the window surrounding and the side skirt. Let's move to the back. As expected from an MPV, it's got a slab of a rear end, almost vertical. You get these vertical tail lights connected with a light bar and a power tailgate. Also, more chrome garnishing on the rear bumper. The second row of the MG M9 EV pamper you in every way imaginable. But you know what? The VIP treatment actually begins even before you step inside. It gets power sliding doors at the rear that can be opened in 4 different ways, including via the key fob. So in other words, there's no need to bother with opening the door yourself. Simply tap a button on the handle and voila! It glides open to reveal 2 large captain's chairs that look far too inviting to ignore. Now finally the moment I've been waiting for. To sit in the second row of the MG M9, because this is where the fun lies in this car. As you can see, it gets these 2 massive captain's seats with heating, ventilation as well as massaging functions. All of which you can control from this touchscreen panel that's provided here. You can extend these seats. These also get an ottoman and these are super comfortable. The car's got a cognac brown interior, leather everywhere. On the door, it's got this nice suede panel and there's also an integrated footrest on the front seat. Now this is what the room looks like for a person say 5'7" like me, and the car's also got a boss mode. As you can see, I've put the seat all the way to the front and this is an extremely comfortable place to be in. Now the second row of seat is also loaded with a lot of gadgets. You get 64 color ambient lighting, a massive panoramic sunroof, again which you can control from here, and a banging 12-speaker JBL sound system with subwoofer. There's also rear seat entertainment. You get 2 individual screens for the left and the right passenger, which enable video streaming, music and all other functions of the car. There's also this sun blind, which is manual, sturdy grab rails and a third row that's also quite spacious. The seats also get a compartment here. There's a Type A and a Type C fast charging port. Now the material quality here is absolutely amazing. As I mentioned, there's soft touch leather everywhere. On the door, there's soft touch plastics and there's also a little wooden trim on this center console. All in all, it looks very nice. Now getting to the third row of the M9 is fairly easy. You just walk in from the space, as there's a lot of space. So let's get behind. Now even with the second row in like a mid setting, there's quite a lot of leg room here. It's good enough for people who are 5'7" maybe. The headroom, that is a little short. 6-footers, they might suffer. And the thigh room, that is also not as good. I just wish the base of the seat that was a little longer. So that would have given it even better leg support. Now the third row passengers, they also get a couple of features. There's a Type A port here on both sides as well as cup holders. And of course that large greenhouse area which makes the cabin even roomier than it already is. Now one thing that should be noted though is the fact that these big seats, they do block a little bit of view of the front. But one thing which I like about this third seat is the fact that you can move it ahead or behind via this handle that's provided here. Pretty neat. The back seat of the MG M9 is the place to be, but what's in store for the occupants in the front here? Well, for the driver, you get a 2-spoke steering wheel which gets leather trimming, a 7-inch instrument cluster, and a 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity. This soft touch materials here, hard plastics here, and there are a lot of cubby holes here. Massive space in the door for storage. I particularly like this floating grab handle. Beautiful mesh grill speakers of the JBL sound system. At the center, there's a huge compartment area. This floating center console, a wireless charging pad up here with 2 cup holders, and at the below, there's again massive storage. There's also a mobile storage here, but that's not a wireless charger, and this area where you can store stuff. Now the greenhouse area here is also quite good. You get a good view of the outside. The windows are huge. The dash, that's a bit long, but because the bonnet is upright, you get a good view of the corners of the car, the front corners. And there's also windows on the A-pillars which help you to see better on the outside. The driver also gets this camera setup here on the A-pillar, which is basically a fatigue sensor, and it flashes every time it senses that the driver is a bit sloppy behind the wheel. For example, he's feeling sleepy. The M9 also gets a digital interior rear view mirror, which is particularly handy. It's bright and legible even in the brightest sunlight. And even at night, it does a pretty good job of showing what's behind. But enough with the talk, let's move to the driving bit now. Into the driver's seat of the MG M9 now. This car is powered by a 90 kWh battery which charges from 30 to 80% in just 30 minutes. It supports DC fast charging. It gets a single motor on the front axle which makes it front wheel drive, and that unit produces 242 bhp and 350 Newton meters of peak torque. This car gets 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal and Sport, and the seamlessness of this car is going to be one of its main USPs. Thanks to the instantly available torque, it picks up speed far quicker than you'd expect. Overtakes even in the 80 to 120 km/h range feel just effortless, and thanks to the electric motor, there's an effortless calm in the M9 on the inside as well. No engine clatter, no annoying hum. This contributes to a remarkably serene in-cabin experience, especially at highway speeds. That's where the M9 remains fantastically quiet. The road noise and wind noise are well contained, and the overall NVH levels are impressively low. Now, there are a couple of surprises with this car. First is the ride quality. I was expecting this car to ride a lot better than it rides. There's a sense of firmness to it, which is not expected from a luxury MPV. What's expected is the body roll. On the handling front, the steering is what is surprised me. It's not as light as I expected, and it is pretty sharp. Almost all M9 owners are unlikely to find themselves behind the wheel of the M9, but you know what? They'll be surprised by how well it drives. What they won't be a fan of, and I can vouch for this, is the tiny driver's cluster. The readouts on this unit, they are small and hard to read, and that makes it a little painful to use. Now, I did mention that it's quite fun to drive being an EV, but nobody's going to buy this car to drive. And that is exactly why I'm going to touch on the ride quality of this car again. As I said, it is a little firm. At low speeds, you can feel almost everything. Hear that? Those were some rumble steps at just 40 kmph. It also doesn't do a good job of ironing out high-speed undulations, and that results in a noticeable bit of wallow. Don't get me wrong, it's not uncomfortable per se, but a stiff ride is the last thing that you'd expect from a luxury MPV that claims to excel in comfort. On the safety front, it's rated for 5 stars on the Euro NCAP safety ratings. It gets 7 airbags and level 2 ADAS as standard, with a plethora of options. There's lane keep assist, forward collision avoidance system, blind spot assist, which comes in very handy while overtaking, for example. and the works. Now, as I mentioned that this car is the longest, tallest and the widest in its class, but you know what, it's quite easy to maneuver even in city. All credit goes to this incredible large greenhouse. I can see out of the car very well. The windscreen is huge, the bonnet is tall as I mentioned, I can easily spot the corners, and the windows are also quite big. So driving the M9 in traffic is not a problem at all, even for a car that has an incredible amount of size and road presence. Now the MG M9 EV is going to be available in a single fully loaded model with all the functions that I've mentioned. Prices for the car haven't been unveiled yet, they are going to be announced at a later date. But you know what, I reckon it'll cost you about 75 lakh rupees ex showroom. And at that price point, it'll rival the Kia Carnival. This car, it's got a lot going on for it. It looks nice, it's got a ton of features, and that second row seat experience is honestly too good. But you know what? Its biggest Achilles heel is the fact that it rides really firm. Don't get me wrong, it's not a very uncomfortable car, but a car of this caliber should have better ride quality. Now, people who are going to spend this big a sum on a car don't care about the fact that it's an EV. But you know what? It's got a really good electric powertrain. There's about 400 kilometers of range available at your disposal. And honestly, it being an EV makes it even more comfortable. The sheer seamlessness of that electric motor and the sheer silence of it makes it a really good driving experience, and honestly a really good car to be in. It's one of the quietest cars available on the Indian market right now, and you know what, it does make for a really compelling luxury electric MPV.